So this video is dedicated to my road to 2000 in rapid in chess.com. I made the account at the beginning of the year or last year because there was a special discount. And of course, when I have time, I try to play. At the moment, I'm nearly 1700 and what I want to show you is a couple of games because I think they can be useful, right?
Some good positional play let you seize the advantage in the middle game.
Okay, so
Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games.
so my opponent is white. His name is David K67. He was rated 1668 and I was rated I think 1696 in that moment when we played, okay? I open with a Sicilian.
The Sicilian defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn.
Now, why do I open with a Sicilian? One, because in this new part of my life, I'm trying to learn a new opening. Two, because it's very, very sharp. And of course, I shouldn't use it because I don't have time to study, okay? But I think I can manage it.
The closed Sicilian controls d5 with the knight and aims for slower development without an immediate d4 push.
Of course, guys, you must know that this is not really the close Sicilian. And why do I tell you that? Now I will show you why.
g6 prepares to fianchetto, the dark squared bishop to g7, where it will sit on the long diagonal.
Okay, so the point here is the following, okay? I open on g6 because I'm using this opening book by Gingy Chasvili, Albert and Perestrain, three grandmasters, and I didn't really study it at all, but they want to use g6. And I had another friend that he played always this, c5 and g6, and it clearly slaughtered me every single time. No matter if you play one e4 or d4, he would play d5 and g6. And so I'm trying, okay? But why this is not the close Sicilian? Because
This is a book move, meaning it follows established opening theory, played by top players for years.
because he played f4. f4 is the Grand Prix attack. Before the Grand Prix attack was f4 right away, e4, c5, f4. Then they discovered that is not so good for white, and you need to first start with knight c3 because you need to control d5. So that's why f4 is played at this point, okay?
That fianchettoed bishop is putting pressure on the diagonal.
So I played bishop g7, it's logical because I played g6, right? So now, how do white continue with knight f3?
White develops the knight and attacks the center.
What does it mean attack the center? He doesn't attack the center, he fights for control of the center. e5 is part of it, but in general is really d4 that you want to control.
This move activates your knight to strengthen control over the center.
And I do the same. The fight is for the square, the central squares, right?
Bishop b5 develops the bishop, attacks the knight on c6, and prepares castling.
And this is the problem. At this point, I didn't have any idea of what I should play in this position. I thought that if I play knight f6 is bad, because he would play this. And where do I go? I don't know. I thought it wasn't a good idea. So I played a move that the computer here considered dubious. I honestly find it interesting, also if it creates a complex of weak dark squares. but I'm not going to exchange the dark square bishop anytime soon, so I'm kind of safe, also because white at the moment cannot really exploit it. White will exploit it because he will castle and then play this and then this. So this is the plan white has. And so you need to study the opening, base yourself on knowing what the plan will be. In the Grand Prix attack, there is an attack on the king side, and so that scared me, obviously. But the idea was to play this white because I wanted to play the knight here, and so that's the reason.
You overlooked an opportunity to offer an equal trade of pieces. You permitted the opponent to force doubling of pawns.
And this is the idea of a computer that I'm going to challenge. The computer tell me, oh, you're going to double the pawns here. Yes, but I'm doubling toward the center, so for me is an advantage, and I open the diagonal for this bishop. So let me show you so you understand what I mean.
This forces the opponent to double pawns.
Here I'm very happy that he did this, because with this move I take control of the center, in my opinion. Then again, I'm not playing against a computer, I'm not playing against a top GM. I'm playing against another human being that is a club player like me. And so I played immediately this, okay?
Recapturing. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure.
In reality, the guy cannot play this, doesn't want to play this because he doesn't want to remove my double pawn. But as you will see, if you are in control of the center, you have an advantage because you prevent the opponent from doing something. So what do you think I did now? I obviously developed this.
Your strike at the center
Okay.
fights for space and central control.
Sorry, I didn't do that. I did this right away. But the idea is that, okay, or 97 or d5, because in the beginning you really fight for the center. That's all you fight for. And who comes out winning the fight is generally the one who has a space advantage and generally better prospects. Okay, so let's see.
Castling kingside tends to be safer than queenside because the king is further from the center.
So this is wow. Okay, and now I played knight e7, that is the move.
Develops the knight in attacking the center.
I don't attack the center because this is my center, so I'm just controlling it, okay? I'm fighting for control, not attacking.
The queen moves forward into the game. Solid choice in the opening.
This is the typical move of the Grand Prix attack. The idea in the Grand Prix attack is this, okay guys? 1, 2, 3. This is the idea that he wants to achieve. I am aware of it, but I'm also know that I have to do something right about it. So I came out with this idea, and I don't know if you find it interesting. I played bishop a6.
You develop a bishop, which means you move it from its starting position.
No, that's not the point. The point here is all this. If I take, he takes, and I have the problem of the rook, right? So I cannot do that right away. But just follow me for a second, because chess is about imagination. You must imagine things, think what you want to achieve. And this is what I find absurd, because sometimes at work there are these fights between colleagues or with colleagues, and there is no end game. They fight just for fighting instead of having a goal. When you do something, you should have a goal. So what is the goal here? That if I'm able to remove this, then this cannot be taken back because I will take the rook. And so you will see that this thing is going to happen. Why it's going to happen? Because sometimes people forget what are the meaning behind some moves, and sometimes they also don't ask themselves what is the meaning of that move. Why black played it, right? So that's what I wanted to show you, because it's really about ideas, not about tactics that you need to learn with tactic training. No, you need to have ideas at the board. My opponent had
This permits the opponent to eventually win material.
my opponent had this idea that was very interesting, because he wanted to play bishop b2 and probably queen c3 and give me checkmate if I castle there. At the moment I cannot take right away, because if I take, he takes here and he goes for my rook, right? So here I started to think, and then I realized the problem. The problem is that if I take, he cannot take with the queen because I take the knight. And if I take, he cannot take with this because I take the rook. So he has a huge problem here. And he has lost at least a pawn, right? If he takes with a knight, I take the rook here. So, boom, I did it.
This is the way to win material. Takes back.
And here it says that is the best move. Strangely, this is the best move. I didn't think it was. I thought that maybe he would play something like this, no? Instead, no, he didn't do it. And so I found it kind of interesting. He fought for a while, and this is the only move he found. At which point I immediately took this.
You captured a vulnerable rook. Recaptures.
And now he captures with the king, and that also made me think, because I don't know if you notice, guy, the idea of castling is that you protect the king. But here this pawn has moved, so the king is not really protected. And now also this complex of dark squares that is weak is replicated also on this side. And there is also this. So white's position is not really good in my opinion. So what do? Obviously now I castle because I don't want problems.
Castling on the same side of the board as your opponent is a solid choice.
After this, he strangely played this move.
This overlooks a better way to develop a bishop off its starting square.
I think maybe it was here the point, because if you play b3, it doesn't make much sense. But he attacked c5, right? Now c5 is double. As you can see, this structure is bad, right? But I don't care, because we are still in the opening. And if it was an endgame, yes, I would have lost the game, because this is terrible. But this is the opening, and we are entering the middle game. So pawns are not really the most valuable things you have over the board. What is valuable? The dynamic position, the activity of your pieces. That's what is really valuable, okay? And so I played queen a5.
You are threatening to win a rook through a fork.
Why queen a5? Because I defend this and I attack this twice, okay? So now he must defend. And again, as you can see, guys, there is a problem. He fought to attack instead of defend. In order, and we have seen it in many of the books that I've shown you, generally grandmaster level player, what do? First they cover all their side of the board, they put all the pieces linking to each other, connecting each other, defending each other, then they attack, because they don't want to give counterplay to the opponent, right? And so now he had to play this, bishop d2.
This misses an opportunity to win a tempo by threatening a queen.
And what did I do? I played queen a6 check.
Well done, an excellent move.
And of course he goes here, no? And why this is a good maneuver? Because I control diagonals, I move a queen away from this, and now the idea also of queen a5 was to empty this, right? So now I can go there. For example, this is why I tell you the game review of chess.com is not really good. Why? Because here I played this, and he says it's not a good move. Guess what is the good move? This. But he didn't explain why. So why this rook is okay and that rook is wrong, I don't have any idea. I also don't want to look for it, because you see guys, the problem is that in real games, and I'm preparing myself maybe for returning to play real tournaments, you will not use an engine. You cannot use an engine. So if you cannot understand why, the engine will not make you understand why. It will just find a way to show you a line in which this move is inferior than that move. But if you didn't calculate that line, you will not do it also the next time, okay?
This steps away from the checking queen.
So, in any case, sorry, fourth thing is king g1, and then there is...
You overlooked a better way to take an open file with a rook.
And here, like I told you, he would prefer to use that rook. I think maybe could be related to the fact that now all the rooks are on the dark squares, and maybe there is something this can do. Maybe, I don't know. But now, watch this.
This overlooks an opportunity to create a pawn chain.
In reality, he has created a pawn chain, but again, as you can see guys, he doesn't explain you what or how. Probably he meant that the right move was this one. I don't know. But once he played this, what do you think I played? Like I told you, pawns in the middle, in this point we are in the middle game, because I also finished my development. I played this. Boom. Why? Because I'm going to destroy his pawn structure.
This is the only move that works, and you found it.
Yeah, because I'm great. And now, this is the move I didn't think about. Oh my god, this move is a problem.
This threatens to eventually win a pawn.
But it's not about winning a pawn. This move is great because it cuts my bishop out. Now my bishop is doing nothing. Is terrible, is terrible. It's a bad bishop at this point, so I needed to find a way to activate that bishop, but I don't know how, honestly. This was the game control for this game was 15 minutes with increment 10 seconds, okay?
This is the way to win a pawn.
And of course I went this way because then you can give a check and take the pawn back.
Takes back. This move makes your knight much more effective.
And I play knight f5 also because I started to think about some possible tactics that could help me to create problems to that king. And that's it. That's why I moved it.
Right on target.
Now he plays this move, and this is funny because it shows that psychologically my opponent crashed.
Nice, definitely the right move.
Check.
This evades the check from the queen.
And of course,
This move gives you a passed pawn, free to advance up the board.
at this point I'm at +3, okay? And my opponent decided to resign, just 20 moves. Obviously, yes, it says there is a pass pawn, but honestly, I don't know. The point of knight f5 was to control also d6, because if he goes here, it's a problem. But he can still go here and create me some problems. So I don't know. I think my opponent resigned prematurely. He should have fought maybe a little longer, and that's it. In the end, he says that the performance was, I was 2300 and he was maybe like 2100. I don't know. I don't really think White played like that. So I hope you enjoyed the game, and I will show you another game that is also interesting against the same opponent.